If your gums bleed when you brush, listen. 97% of people with Alzheimer's have the same bacteria that come from bleeding gums. These bacteria slip into your blood in minutes. It travels to your brain and starts eating your memory from the inside out. At first, you forget little things, but then it gets worse. It shuts down your brain piece by piece until everything goes dark. And while you're brushing harder and rinsing longer, trying to fix bad breath or receding gums, you could be unknowingly funneling brain-eating bacteria straight into your bloodstream every single day. Hospitals are filled with people who are losing their memory and their minds. And because they ignored something small, like bleeding gums, and it didn't just wipe out your mind, this same bacteria has been found in people who have died from heart attacks, strokes, or even people who are experiencing problems having kids. It spreads through your blood like it's on a highway, from your gums to your heart, your brain, and beyond. Scientists believe the mouth is where 7 out of 10 chronic diseases begin. But here's the craziest part. The toothpastes and mouthwashes you use to clean your mouth, they're not killing the bad bacteria, they're feeding it. That's why I had to speak up. Because while this bacteria might be spreading inside your body, there is a way to stop it. My name is Dr. Marcus Levin, and what I'm about to tell you could save your life, or the life of someone you love. I've spent the last 28 years researching one of the most overlooked medical threats of our time: imbalanced oral microbiomes, harmful bacterial communities that break down your teeth from the inside. I've lectured at international conferences, helped develop regenerative gum tissue therapies used in top clinics today, and consulted with NASA on preserving bone density in astronauts, including enamel in zero gravity. Over the decades, I've seen what gum disease does to people. It's not just sore gums or bad breath. It messes with your confidence. You stop smiling in photos. You think twice before getting close to someone. But what most people don't realize is that the damage doesn't stop in your mouth. It might sound unbelievable, but the truth is that inside your gums right now are the same bacteria scientists are finding in heart attack plaque, the brain tissue of people with Alzheimer's, even the reproductive system of men struggling with ED. And every time your gums bleed, every time you brush too hard or skip a floss, you may be giving these bacteria direct access to your bloodstream. In fact, some of the most popular healthy products, like alcohol-based mouthwash and fluoride toothpaste, are stripping away the good bacteria and leaving the bad ones to mutate and thrive. But here's the part most people never hear. You can use a clinically proven, simple, and powerful nighttime chewing protocol to fight back. It doesn't matter how bad your dental problems are, how long you've had them, or how old you are. A simple fix that can stop the bleeding, the pain, the infections, and actually help your mouth heal itself. I've seen it work for people who were told their teeth were beyond saving. I've seen it work for people who hadn't smiled in photos for years. I've seen it work for people whose bodies were overwhelmed with inflammation, even those quietly struggling with the early stages of memory loss. Just picture it. No more blood in the sink when you brush. No more pounding tooth pain keeping you up at night. No more hiding your breath, your smile, or yourself. You feel lighter, like a fog has lifted, because your body isn't fighting a hidden infection 24/7 anymore. In the next few minutes, you'll discover why our ancestors, despite never brushing their teeth or going to the dentist, had better teeth than we do. Why men with gum disease are 3 times more likely to suffer erectile dysfunction, and 5 times more likely to suffer from Alzheimer's. What NASA discovered about teeth and bone regeneration that American dentists don't want you to know, and the simple $1.50 nighttime chewing hack that top Hollywood stars use to restore their teeth and gums overnight before an important gala. And you'll discover the science behind all of this in just a few minutes. But the reason I devoted my entire career to this started with something much closer to home: my father. My father was a brilliant engineer. He could solve hard design problems in his head, no calculator needed, his mind was razor sharp, his memory was perfect. But he wasn't just brilliant, he was the healthiest man I knew. At 68, he could still outrun men half his age. He had perfect blood pressure, his doctor was jealous of his cholesterol levels, he hiked every weekend, he lifted weights 3 times a week, he was never sick for more than a day in his life. No family history of Alzheimer's, no diabetes, no heart problems, nothing. That's why what happened next made no sense. It started small. He forgot a name here, he repeated a story there. We all laughed it off. Getting old, we said. But then he started missing appointments. He lost things he'd just set down. He got confused in places he'd been 1,000 times. One morning, I walked into the kitchen where he was having coffee. The same kitchen where he'd made me breakfast every day. He looked at me with this blank look and said, "Sorry, do I know you?" That moment broke me. The man who raised me, the man who could figure out rocket science in his head, couldn't remember his own child's name. 6 months later, he was gone. The doctors called it early onset Alzheimer's. They said it was probably genetic, maybe stress, maybe just bad luck, but I knew better. There was no family history, no genetic markers, no clear cause. A man that healthy, that sharp, that mentally active doesn't just fall apart, not without a reason. So I became obsessed with finding it. I spent the next 2 years diving into every piece of research I could find. Sleep studies, food analysis, toxin reports. I had his blood work from the past decade looked at by specialists. I talked to every doctor he'd ever seen, every trainer he'd worked with, even his old co-workers from the engineering firm. I was looking for something, anything, something everyone else had missed, and then I found it. Buried in a stack of old dental records I'd almost thrown away. 5 years before his first memory slip, my father had developed something that seemed totally unrelated. Chronic gum disease. Suddenly, everything clicked. I remembered how it had started. Bleeding gums that wouldn't heal, chronic bad breath that embarrassed him, how he'd become obsessed with brushing his teeth 3, 4, sometimes 5 times a day. He tried everything, expensive electric toothbrushes, prescription rinses, every advanced mouthwash on the market. Every dentist said the same thing. Try brushing more. Use a stronger mouthwash. Maybe consider gum surgery. But despite doing everything right, everything got worse. His gums kept pulling back. His breath got worse. He stopped smiling in photos. Just tight-lipped grins to hide his shame. He used to talk with his hands, animated and confident. Toward the end, he kept one hand near his mouth, like he was trying to hide something. Even my mom started kissing him on the forehead instead of the lips. She put mints on the nightstand. Eventually, she moved to the guest room to sleep better. She never moved back. At the time, we all thought his dental problems were just dental problems, separate from everything else. But as I dug deeper into the research, I realized we'd missed the most important connection of all. That's when I found that little-known study from Tufts University School of Dental Medicine. Researchers looked at brain tissue from Alzheimer's patients after they died. What they found connected directly to my father's case. In nearly every case, one type of bacteria kept showing up. P. gingivalis. And you can tell by the name, it's the main bacteria behind gingivitis, or gum disease. But now we know something else. It doesn't just make your gums bleed, it drills tiny holes in them. Then, it's able to slip into your blood, like a silent invader. From there, it can plant itself in your heart, your entire body, even your brain. That's not a coincidence, that's proof. And I believe it was inside my father too. The same bacteria quietly eating away at his gums wiped out his mind. But here's what shook me to the core as I kept digging. Everything we've been told to do to fight these bacteria may actually be feeding them or forcing them to mutate. Remember, our ancestors never brushed their teeth. For 200,000 years, humans had no toothbrushes, no toothpaste, no mouthwash, no dental floss. And yet, when we dig up their skulls, we find something shocking. Their teeth were strong, very little decay, no whitening strips needed, and their teeth were pristine. So what changed? Modern dentistry happened. Take mouthwash, for example. In 1879, a man named Joseph Lawrence was traveling the countryside in a covered wagon. He sold miracle cures to anyone who would buy them. One day, he mixed detergent with grain alcohol, then added a few drops of flavoring. First, he tried selling it as a floor cleaner, and then a cure for diseases. Then they marketed it for bad breath. And it skyrocketed to be the #1 mouthwash in America. It was literally detergent and booze in a bottle, and a con man was selling it as medicine. 145 years later, dentists still recommend this bacterial poison. Think about that. Modern oral hygiene is built on a snake oil salesman's formula. And worse, we never questioned it. We just kept making it stronger. More chemicals, more antibacterials. We didn't realize that we were teaching P. gingivalis how to survive. Just like how antibiotic resistance is creating superbugs in your gut, but mouthwash is just the beginning of this backwards approach. Think about what happens when you get a deep cleaning at the dentist. They scrape your gums with metal tools. This leaves tiny cuts all over your gums. Now, P. gingivalis has a direct path into your bloodstream. What about root canals? The dentist removes the living part of your tooth, but they leave behind an empty shell. P. gingivalis moves in and hides there for years. It slowly poisons your body from this safe hiding spot. And teeth whitening? It strips off the natural coating that protects your teeth. Your ancestors had this same coating for 200,000 years. It kept their teeth healthy without any dentist visits. Now you've removed your teeth protection, so P. gingivalis can dig deeper than ever before. And every time you use another chemical treatment, these bacteria get stronger. They learn to survive whatever you throw at them. But it doesn't stop at dental procedures. The products we use at home make things worse. Every time you use harsh mouthwash or strong toothpaste, you create a chemical wasteland in your mouth. You kill off the good bacteria, but the bad bacteria like P. gingivalis, they survive. It's like trying to get rid of cockroaches with poison. You might kill some, but the ones that live through it become mutated super roaches. Harder to kill next time, and this wasteland? It stinks. That's where chronic bad breath comes from. Not from food or poor brushing, but from the toxic waste these survivor mutant bacteria pump out every day. And here's the worst part. All these harsh chemicals dry out in your mouth. Your gums become sensitive, they start to crack, and through these tiny cracks, the mutated bad bacteria slip into your bloodstream. They travel everywhere in your body, your heart, your brain. So what do dentists tell you to do about the cracks and sensitivity? Brush more, use stronger mouthwash, scrub harder. This makes your mouth even drier, creates more cracks, gives the bacteria even easier access to your entire body. You're stuck in a cycle that keeps making things worse. The harder you fight with chemicals and scrubbing, the faster P. gingivalis spreads through your body. You might not know this, but there's an entire group of dentists who will never drink from the same glass as their own children or share a fork with them. They're desperately trying to prevent passing along P. gingivalis bacteria. Think about that. The very people who tell us to brush and floss twice a day, they're so terrified of this bacteria that they won't even share a simple drink with their own kids. They know something the rest of us don't. They know that once this bacteria gets into a family, it spreads fast. Parent to child, husband to wife, even through shared forks or drinking from the same glass. And they know that all the brushing, flossing, and mouthwash in the world can't stop it. In fact, one of the most dangerous habits feeds these bacteria every single night. Something millions of us do without thinking: mouth breathing. When you breathe through your mouth, it dries everything out. Your saliva disappears, and saliva is a powerful antibacterial, which keeps these P. gingivalis in check. Research from the University of Otago shows oral pH dropping from neutral, which is a 7, to a 3.6, which is the pH of vinegar. Not only does the acidity dissolve your teeth, the bacteria also thrive in acid and multiply faster in a dry mouth. That's why people who mouth breathe often wake up with that thick, nasty taste. It's not just morning breath, it's the waste products from billions of bacteria that had a feeding frenzy all night long. Today, 8 out of 10 American adults have gum disease. Most have no idea, and even fewer realize what it's doing to their brain, heart, and immune system. But here's what's even more disturbing. Scientists now agree that 7 out of 10 chronic diseases start in your mouth. Heart disease, Alzheimer's, blood sugar problems, even problems in the bedroom, and trouble having kids. The bacteria in your mouth doesn't stay in your mouth, it travels. It sets up shop in your heart, your brain, your joints, everywhere. Pick almost any disease, and I can show you how P. gingivalis bacteria play a role. Yet when people get sick, where do they go? Heart problems, they see a heart doctor. High blood sugar, they see a diabetes doctor. Memory loss, they see a brain doctor. But none of them ever look in your mouth. We've separated the mouth from the body in medicine. Doctors and dentists go to different schools, like your teeth and gums aren't part of your body. So it's no surprise they've missed the connection between mouth health and big problems like heart disease and memory loss. Here's what most doctors don't know. Your saliva is more powerful than a blood test. Crime labs can identify someone from a drop of saliva left on a coffee cup. Paternity tests use saliva. Why? Because saliva contains everything. Your DNA, your hormones, your inflammatory markers, traces of every medication you take, and evidence of every infection you've ever had. Your mouth is like a diagnostic window into your entire body. Yet somehow, conventional medicine treats it like it's completely disconnected from everything else. It's insane. The scariest part? You've been trained to accept the early warning signs. When your gums bleed during brushing, what do you think? Oh, that's normal. I should brush more. But imagine if your eye started bleeding every time you blinked, or your foot bled every time you put on a shoe. You'd be in the emergency room within hours. Yet somehow, we've normalized bleeding in the mouth. We've been conditioned to think it's a sign we need to be more aggressive with our oral care. When your gums bleed, it's not a sign to brush harder. It's a warning that your mouth's natural defenses have already collapsed. Those bleeding gums are open wounds, letting billions of P. gingivalis bacteria into your bloodstream every single day. 140 billion per day to be exact. And the first place they travel, your heart. They stick to your artery walls, building up like plaque inside a pipe. And over time, they clog your blood flow, just like a traffic jam in your veins. Doctors have even found these same mouth bacteria inside the arteries of people who have died from heart attacks. Not just cholesterol, not just fat, P. gingivalis bacteria from their mouths. From there, it rides the bloodstream into every part of your body, including the parts that control your hormones. In women, it can make it harder to have a baby. In men, it can cause low energy, low testosterone, and fatigue that never seems to go away. But the scariest part is when these bacteria get into your brain. Once they get past the brain's defense wall, they release toxic chemicals that destroy brain cells. They eat away at the parts of your brain that hold your memories and personality. That's why scientists keep finding these same mutated P. gingivalis bacteria in the brains of people with Alzheimer's, nearly every time. And that's exactly what happened to my dad. He was one of the smartest people I knew. He could do math in his head that most people couldn't even do with a calculator. But near the end, he couldn't even remember my name, all because of something that started in his mouth. That's why I've dedicated my life to trying to fix this, to protect people from the damage that no one sees coming, and to help your mouth heal the way it was meant to. Because if I had known then what I know now, my father might still be here and calling me by my name. But here's the good news. Once you understand what you're really fighting, you can win. The answer isn't stronger chemicals. You can't fix the problem by scrubbing harder or using mouthwash that burns. In fact, that just makes things worse. Killing off the good bacteria your mouth actually needs to stay healthy. That's exactly why I created something called the nighttime chewing hack. It's helped so many of my patients, even the ones who were told their teeth couldn't be saved. But here's the truth. If you don't get this part right, nothing else will work. Not even the most advanced treatments. Here's why. Your body does most of its healing at night. That includes your teeth. Researchers from the University of Michigan found that saliva helps remineralize enamel and heal your gums during sleep, if it's actually flowing. Clinical studies show that strong chemical toothpaste and alcohol-based mouthwashes can reduce saliva production by up to 84% for hours afterward. So instead of healing while you sleep, your mouth becomes wide open for attack. The bad bacteria come out and they've got 8 full hours to chew through your teeth, your gums, and even get into your bloodstream. That's why you need to turn your saliva back on at night. Start by just imagining a chewing action and do it for a few minutes. But I wanted to do more. Yes, just mimicking chewing will help to a point. But if you're fighting years of accumulated damage, you need something stronger. Something that turbocharges your saliva with proven repairing ingredients. What would happen if we actually chewed the right ingredients? Ones that heal and protect your teeth and your entire body. I became obsessed with developing a routine that would amplify this effect. To not just activate saliva, but supercharge it with cleansing and repairing ingredients that create the perfect environment for rapid bacterial rebalance and deep enamel repair. For example, what would happen if people could chew the most powerful mineral for dental decay, the very same one NASA uses to help astronauts regrow bone after losing it in space? After thousands of hours of iteration and refinement, my team and I created a system that's so powerfully effective, it doesn't just help restore oral health, it resets it. We tested it on hundreds of people, different ages, different health histories, and different stages of damage. And the transformation was undeniable. Gums stopped bleeding, breath turned fresh, teeth that were loose began to feel firm again, and people started waking up with mouths that felt clean, like they'd just come from the dentist. And then came the reports that stunned us. Joint pain vanishing, memory sharpening, and energy levels soaring. Heal the mouth, heal the body. No matter how long the damage has been there, no matter how many treatments had failed before. This is what finally made everything else work, to rebuild what years of chemical rinses and bacterial assaults had destroyed. We needed more than just the right routine. We needed the right materials. Not just surface level whitening agents, but deep molecular level repair that could actually restore the structure of the teeth. A mineral so powerful it was originally developed by NASA to prevent astronauts' bones from breaking down in zero gravity. It's called hydroxyapatite, the building block of your teeth that has been lost. By sealing these holes, we're not just protecting your teeth, we're blocking bacteria from entering your bloodstream and reaching your heart. Once your tooth gets damaged by P. gingivalis, it's like turning your teeth into Swiss cheese, full of tiny holes. And those holes become perfect hiding spots for them. They crawl in, hide, and start multiplying. Even if you kill most of them, a few can still survive. And as long as those holes are still there, they'll come right back. If you don't seal the holes, the cycle just starts all over again. We made the particle so small, it can get into all the micro cracks in your teeth and reseal them. In studies done by the prestigious Tokyo Medical and Dental University, and published in the Journal of Dental Research, nano hydroxyapatite managed to remineralize 98% of cavities and actually reverse tooth decay that dentists said was irreversible. No wonder NASA uses it to repair bones in space. You're literally rebuilding your teeth with space-age engineering. By filling these microscopic holes, we're not just rebuilding teeth, we're cutting off the highway that allows bacteria to reach your heart and brain. In Japan, dentists have quietly been using this tooth healing technology for over 40 years, recommending nano hydroxyapatite as a cutting-edge treatment to repair cavities without drilling. Here in America, the dental industry still relies on outdated treatments like fillings and root canals. Most Japanese people only go to the dentist once every 5 years because they don't need to go more often. Their teeth stay strong. Here in the US, more than half of people over 60 have false teeth. In Japan, it's closer to 5%. So why haven't we heard about this? Because if your teeth could heal themselves, what would you need a dentist for? Now, P. gingivalis doesn't just float around in your mouth. The bacteria cling to your teeth and gums, hiding in hard-to-reach places. That's how they stay safe and keep doing damage. But dental researchers found something powerful. They discovered it by studying deep-sea creatures that never get bacteria stuck to their shells. They found there are two special enzymes, beta-glucanase and dextrinase, that help unstick the bacteria. When they tested them, the bacteria that had been hiding for years started breaking apart and washing away. It was like watching grease slip off of Teflon. Even the really stubborn stuff disappeared in just a few days. As these harmful bacteria get flushed out, your circulatory system gets cleaner too, reducing inflammation that affects your heart and brain. Once the bad bacteria are no longer stuck, your mouth finally has a chance to heal. You know how your dentist always says sugar is bad for your teeth? Well, this next part flips that on its head. There's something called glucose oxidase, and it actually uses any sugar or sweetener found in your mouth to make pure oxygen. That pure oxygen forces out the bad bacteria hiding in your gums and around your teeth. Instead of dry mouth breathing, this therapeutic oxygen is being created exactly where the damage is happening. Bad bacteria can't survive in an oxygen-rich environment, but your healthy mouth tissue thrives in it and regenerates. Plus, this oxygen-rich environment improves blood flow throughout your body, supporting better heart health and clearer thinking. And as a bonus, it even helps whiten your teeth naturally. No bleach, no chemicals, but we're not done yet, because mutated P. gingivalis has a fatal weakness. It's incredibly greedy and can't help itself when it comes to eating something that's sweet. That's why we added clinical grade xylitol. It looks like sugar to the bacteria, but it's actually poison to them. They eat it thinking they're getting a great treat, and then they die. And we don't use the cheap kind you find in gum or sweeteners. We use clinical grade xylitol, the pure, powerful version that makes them die even faster. And as a side effect, it increases the blood flow to your teeth, feeding them with nutrients. This increased blood flow doesn't just heal your gums, it carries healing nutrients throughout your cardiovascular system, enhancing your brain and heart. With the bacterial army wiped out, the real healing can finally begin. For this, we use cutting-edge lactoferrin, and it's one of the strongest natural healers we've ever found. It was first discovered in breast milk. It's the way nature protects newborn babies from infection right after they're born. The lactoferrin we use comes from the milk of grass-fed cows in New Zealand, some of the purest, most pristine dairy sources on earth. These cows graze on untouched pastures, far from pollution and chemicals, producing milk with incredibly high concentrations of this healing compound. New Zealand has some of the strictest dairy purity standards in the world. The cows need to feed on fresh grass for more than 350 days a year, which means we get the most potent, uncontaminated lactoferrin available. When we use it on damaged gums, the results are incredible. Studies show that lactoferrin doesn't just clean up the bacteria, it actually helps your gums regrow and reattach to your teeth. Healing happens up to 340% faster than normal. And here's what's remarkable. Lactoferrin doesn't just heal your mouth. Research shows it supports immune function throughout your entire body, helping protect your heart and brain from bacterial invasion. Here's how. Lactoferrin boosts blood flow to the damaged areas, sending oxygen and nutrients exactly where they're needed. And as your gums heal, something amazing happens. Even the nerves in your gums start to come back to life. That's why people say their gums stop hurting so quickly, because they're not just healing, they're getting stronger than before. And scientists at Harvard found something amazing. When adults took enough lactoferrin, their gums started healing just as fast as a baby's, and their saliva flow came back too. That's important, because saliva protects your mouth while you sleep. But we didn't stop there. We combined lactoferrin with something called lysozyme, another natural defender. Lysozyme helps your gums repair even faster, and then adds a protective shield around them, like invisible armor that gets stronger every day. So not only do your gums heal, they become stronger than before. And this protection extends beyond your mouth. Lysozyme helps shield your cardiovascular system and brain from bacterial invasion. Even after the P. gingivalis bacteria are gone and your gums start healing, there's still one thing that can hold you back: bad breath. That's where two special enzymes come in, amylase and amyloglucosidase. They act like a tiny cleanup crew inside your mouth. They break down the leftover dead P. gingivalis and wash it away. That means no more nasty smell, no more morning mouth, just a clean, fresh feeling all day long. And as these bacterial toxins get cleared out, the chronic inflammation that affects your memory and energy starts to fade. To finish the job, we added one last ingredient. It's called lactoperoxidase, and it might be the most powerful one of all. Scientists first found it in raw milk from mountain villages in Switzerland. People there live very long, healthy lives, even into their 90s. They don't get as much heart disease or memory loss as the rest of us. One reason is this enzyme. Lactoperoxidase helps your body spot and shut down harmful bacteria that escape from your mouth into your blood. When your body isn't busy fighting those bad bacteria, it can finally recover. Inflammation goes down, blood moves better, you feel more energy, and even your brain can start working better again. Because when you heal the gateway to your body, your mouth, you heal everything downstream. But turning all these research breakthroughs into something real wasn't easy. There was no ready-made formula, no supplier with all the right components. I had to hunt down obscure ingredients from international labs, most of them heat-sensitive, fragile, or nearly impossible to ship without losing potency. We ran into problems at every stage. The enzymes had to stay alive. The nanominerals had to be engineered to the exact size that could penetrate deep into damaged enamel, not just sit on the surface. We tested dozens of combinations, reformulated, retested. It took almost a year working 17 hours a day. But when we finally got it right, I started giving it to my patients, not the easy cases, the ones who were out of options. People who had tried every mouthwash, every deep cleaning, every root canal, men facing scary diagnoses when bacteria showed up in their heart tissue, women whose gums bled so badly they stopped smiling. But when the results started coming in, we saw people's gums healing in days instead of months. Their teeth stopped hurting, their breath turned fresh, and they started smiling again without covering their mouth. But here's what really blew us away. Their whole body health transformed. Chronic fatigue lifted, inflammation went down, mental fog lifted, and they could hold a conversation from beginning to end without losing their train of thought, without needing to constantly ask, what was I saying before? Almost everyone felt years younger. It was amazing, but it shouldn't have been surprising. When you heal the door to your body, you heal the entire body. That's when we knew. This wasn't just for my patients. This had the power to help so many more people. People like Karen D., 63 from Florida.
I couldn't smile without covering my mouth. My gums were swollen and bleeding, and I was constantly worried about my breath. A friend suggested that I try this, and 3 weeks later, my dentist couldn't believe the transformation. My gums are healthy and pink again. The bleeding has stopped completely. But the thing that surprised me the most was how much sharper I felt mentally. I used to forget names like mid-sentence, but now my memory is better than it's been in years. I wish I would have started this sooner.
And Marcus R., 54 from Ohio.
My wife hadn't kissed me on the lips in 2 years because of my breath. I was sleeping in the guest room because my snoring and mouth breathing were so bad. Now my breath is fresh all day. I sleep soundly through my nose, and our marriage is stronger than ever. This saved our relationship. Maybe it's related or not, but both my cholesterol and blood sugar levels are also lower, way lower.
Or Jennifer L.
I never thought I'd get over chronic bad breath. It was so frustrating going from product to product and only having the problem return within a few days. This method was the only one that got me out of that hopeless cycle of oral treatment and relapse. For the first time in years, I spoke confidently at my daughter's wedding. I cannot begin to tell you the joy of feeling more attractive and confident again. Plus, I have more energy.
That's why, for the first time ever, we're making it available to the public. I call it Synadentix. At first, I made it almost by hand, using ultra-pure nanohydroxyapatite from Japan, medical-grade lactoferrin from grass-fed dairy in New Zealand, and custom enzymes that were nearly impossible to find. But the real breakthrough? We didn't put it in a pill or a rinse that washes away in seconds. We turned it into a delicious chewable, something that feels like candy but works like professional treatment. I tell my patients, just chew this before bed and your mouth will feel brand new. Every batch is tested twice, once by our manufacturer and again by an independent lab. We checked for purity, strength, and safety. No fillers, no chemicals, no shortcuts, and yes, it was expensive to make. At first, each bottle cost nearly $400, but people were happy to pay for it because it worked. Soon we saw something amazing. People weren't just buying it for themselves, they were sending bottles to their parents, their spouses, especially when they understood how crucial it is to stop gum bleeding. Not just for their teeth, but for their overall health. One woman helped her dad keep his teeth after his dentist said he'd lose them all. Another sent it to her sister after years of painful gum infections that were draining her energy and making her sick. That's when we knew. This doesn't just save teeth, it saves smiles. It saves confidence. It saves relationships, even your heart and brain health. And we had to find a way to make it available to everyone. That's why I started the Million Smiles Saved Project. It's a nationwide mission to help people collectively save a million smiles, not just to save them from tooth loss, but from shame, pain, and the fear of bacterial infections reaching their heart and brain. When we saw the results from my early patients, we knew we had to get this into as many hands as possible. So we partnered directly with our ingredient suppliers, cutting out the middlemen, and made sure cost would never be the reason someone lost their teeth or suffered a heart attack from oral bacteria. I'll tell you exactly how to get started in a minute. But first, I'll be real with you. This isn't something you want to just dabble in, because damaged teeth and infected gums don't respond to quick fixes. They respond to consistency. Killing P. gingivalis and regrowing your mouth's delicate microbiome isn't a switch you flip. It's more like rebuilding a damaged ecosystem. It needs time, protection, and the right environment to take root and thrive. Right now, as you read this, P. gingivalis colonies in your mouth are multiplying fast. Every day you wait, they're drilling deeper into your enamel and into your blood. The longer you delay, the more expensive and painful it becomes to reverse the damage. Most people feel the shift in the first 5 days. They have less morning breath, gums stop bleeding, teeth feel smoother, but week 2 is where it gets real. The constant tooth sensitivity, gone. The embarrassing bad breath, no more. Your confidence returns, not forced, just natural, clean. Then comes month 3. Your gums turn pink again. Your teeth feel solid. People start commenting on your smile. Your dentist sees your x-rays and says, whatever you're doing, don't stop. You say yes to the close-up photo, yes to kissing without worry, yes to eating an apple without fear. You stop avoiding the dentist and start looking forward to showing off your progress. And by month 6, that's when it gets wild. Gums are completely reattached, teeth are naturally white, your breath stays fresh all day, blood test shows 0 inflammatory markers from oral bacteria. Because once the bacterial load drops, something incredible begins to happen. Energy comes roaring back. People who haven't felt truly awake in years start bounding out of bed in the morning. Brain fog? Gone, replaced by crystal clear focus. Weight that clung on for years begins to melt away as inflammation drops. And for men, let's just say when blood flow is no longer hijacked by oral bacteria, things start working again naturally. For women, hormonal balance returned, cycles are regulated, the skin clears. People even reported their hair feeling thicker, their nails growing faster, and their faces looking visibly younger. The only thing I hear from patients at that point is, I wish I'd started with the full 6 months. Not because they didn't get results, but because the results came fast and then the bottles ran out. And when that happened, the bacteria crept back in. The inflammation returned and the healthy ecosystem we had worked so hard to rebuild started collapsing again. That's why we always recommend the full 6-month protocol. But we can only produce a limited number of kits at a time because the ingredients are rare. NASA-grade nanohydroxyapatite, clinical lactoferrin, and marine enzymes most labs don't even carry. Once we hit our cap for the month, that's it. I've seen what happens when people wait too long. By the time they come back, the bacterial damage is worse. The gum recession is deeper, the motivation is gone. That's why we always recommend the 6-bottle protocol. We call it the Smile and Total Health Insurance, not just to make it easier, but to make sure your results stick. Thanks to the Million Smiles Saved Project, we slashed the cost to make it a no-brainer. Normally, this protocol runs at $380 a bottle. That's the real price, because it's premium, lab-grade, and clinically proven. But today, you're not paying that, not even close. And if you choose the 6-bottle protocol, the same one my most successful patients used, I'm throwing in a few clinical tools we reserve for private patients. They help create the perfect environment for bacterial rebalancing. Even in a mouth that's been damaged by years of chemical rinses, medications, or chronic inflammation. And you'll receive them all free of charge. Red Carpet Breath, the scent of confidence, a $147 value. Did you know top A-list actors don't chew gum, suck mints, or rinse with chemicals before a kiss scene? They use this, a 30-second pH ritual that kills odor-causing sulfur compounds, balances your oral biome, and keeps you kissable for up to 16 hours. Even after coffee, garlic, or wine. Originally used by a celebrity dental coach for close-up scenes and intimacy coaching, this secret has saved more dates, interviews, and spontaneous moments than any breath mint ever could. Fix mouth breathing the easy and natural way, without tape, a $157 value. Elite athletes and runway models are now taping their mouths at night to stop face-wrecking mouth breathing. But let's be real, you're not taping your face. This 5-minute facial yoga ritual retains your airway, boosts nasal tone, and automatically rewires your breathing so your body stops drying out your mouth and gums overnight. Created by a sports neurologist and a facial symmetry expert, it doesn't just change your breath. It tightens your jawline, reduces puffiness, and gives your face that oxygen-fled glow models seem born with. The sculptured smile ritual, instant gum plumping from the aesthetic elite, a $197 value. This is the secret aesthetic dentists whisper about backstage at the Oscars. A fingertip ritual that stimulates gum microcirculation, tightens inflamed tissue, and plumps your smile in 60 seconds flat. Originally developed for dental surgery recovery, it's now a red carpet staple for making your teeth look whiter, your gums younger, and your smile photo ready. Today only, you're also getting all 3 of these red carpet protocols worth $501 total. 100% free when you say yes to the 6-month protocol. They're yours to keep, even if you return your bottles. And I almost forgot, one of the most important points, we don't send out generic formulas anymore. Thanks to our latest diagnostic tool, we can now personalize each protocol based on your oral health profile. See, most companies treat every mouth the same, one fixed dose, no matter your age, the severity of your gum disease, your bacterial load, or your goals. That would be like giving the same antibiotic to someone with a mild infection and someone with sepsis and expecting the same results. It doesn't make sense. And honestly, that's why so many oral health products fail, because they weren't made for your specific bacterial ecosystem. With our protocol, we do things differently. We start by analyzing your oral health blueprint, just a few quick questions, your symptoms, how long you've had problems, your dental history, and what's holding you back most. From there, we craft a precisely dosed bacterial rebalancing formula and match you to the enzyme blend and mineral concentration that makes sense for your mouth's specific needs. You're not getting some generic off-the-shelf rinse. You're getting a custom-matched protocol, engineered to work with your biology and actually heal. For a lot of people, it's the first time anything's felt like it was built for their specific problems. No more guessing, no more hoping. This protocol was originally $380 a bottle because of the rare ingredients and specialized formulation. But for a limited time, through our pilot program partners, we've negotiated a subsidized rate, just $1.50 a day for the most recommended package. Once you complete the assessment and we've built your ideal dose and optimal protocol, you'll get access to the full 6-month plan at our lowest possible rate. You'll save over $1,400 because of the limited time pricing. And yes, priority shipping is included, as well as all the $501 worth of bonus protocols. Free of charge if you decide to invest in your oral health today. And if you choose the most recommended package, your order skips the line. You get priority formulation, so your custom protocol reaches you sooner. While others are still waiting, you're already healing gums, eliminating bacteria, and rebuilding enamel. But because this pricing is subsidized through our ingredient partners, only a limited number of discounted kits are released each month. Once they're gone, the price goes back up. And you'll have to wait until the next production run. Each month, we're only allowed to release 1,500 kits under this agreement. And as of this morning, 79% of this month's supply has already been claimed. We track results very closely, and for most people, the changes begin immediately. If you follow the protocol as directed and your gums don't stop bleeding within your first 7 days, you're entitled to a full refund. You don't need to send anything back. We trust you. And if for any reason you're still not satisfied by the end of your first 3 months, you're backed by our 90-day guarantee as well. Why are we so confident? Because this isn't a guess. This is custom matched to your oral microbiome, your needs, your mouth profile. And when a formula is made for your mouth, it tends to work. Right now, below this video, you'll see a few options to get started. We don't offer single bottles anymore because honestly, most of the life-changing results didn't come from trying it once, they came from people who committed. And 91% of our most dramatic transformations, the ones who saved teeth their dentist said were hopeless, happened on the longer protocols. That's why we've structured this to encourage real healing from the start. And if you're serious about saving your smile, I recommend the 6-month protocol. That's what my most successful patients used, and what I give to nearly every person who walks into my practice. Killing P. gingivalis completely, clearing it from your system, and rebuilding your oral ecosystem isn't a one-week fix. Beneficial bacteria need time to establish, multiply, and fully crowd out P. gingivalis. If you stop too soon, P. gingivalis will return, and the bleeding, the pain, the bacterial toxins heading to your heart, they come right back. 6 months gives your mouth a real chance to heal, and it gives enough time for the results to stick. I've seen this moment so many times. Someone has tried everything. They're tired, they're embarrassed, and they're starting to wonder if maybe losing their teeth is just inevitable. One woman said something that really stayed with me. I wasn't even hoping for perfect teeth anymore. I just didn't want to be afraid to smile. Yeah, that. Because that's the real thing no one talks about. It's not just about the teeth, it's the feeling of not recognizing your own smile anymore. When you can't eat the foods you love, when you avoid photos, when you worry that bacteria from your mouth might be silently attacking your heart. That's not living, that's surviving. You'll see a few options below this video. If you're serious about rebuilding your oral health and protecting your progress, go with the 6-month protocol. That's what worked for my most successful patients. It's what I use in my own practice, and it's what I'd choose for someone I care about. That said, we know some may be in a difficult spot right now, even with these discounts. If that's you, and you genuinely can't access the full protocol, then yes, starting with 2 or 3 bottles is better than doing nothing at all. But let's be honest, if you can fully commit, you should, because partial treatment rarely leads to complete healing. So if you're ready, you'll start by answering just a few simple questions so we can decode the right enzyme blend, mineral concentration, and delivery method your mouth truly needs. Then, once we've matched you, you'll choose the plan that fits. And if you can, lock in the 6-month protocol. Your smile deserves that chance. I hope to hear your success story soon. Still on the fence? Here are some common questions from our viewers. Margaret from Phoenix asks, I've never heard any of this before. How come my dentist has never mentioned it? Great question, Margaret, and I'm glad you brought it up. Yes, the nighttime chewing protocol is absolutely real. See, the real problem isn't poor hygiene, it's P. gingivalis, the gum disease bacteria that create tiny holes in your gums and uses them as a highway to your bloodstream, where it can reach your heart and brain. This chewing protocol is based on your body's natural ability to repair teeth while you sleep by activating healing saliva flow. The same process that kept our ancestors' teeth healthy for 200,000 years without dentists. We've just taken it further by turbocharging it with powerful ingredients that go directly into your bloodstream, cleansing and repairing not only your gums and teeth, but also detoxing your entire system at the cellular level. Now, as for why you haven't heard of it, well, the reason is obvious. This protocol doesn't require drilling, scraping, or expensive procedures. You can't patent a chewing motion, and Big Dentistry can't sell it as a $2,000 monthly deep cleaning subscription. It works naturally by mimicking what your mouth was designed to do, without the chemicals, invasive procedures, or recurring appointments. But because there's no money in natural healing, this discovery stays buried. Brian from Charlotte, North Carolina asks, I've tried special toothpaste and mouthwashes before and didn't feel anything. What makes this so different? Totally fair question, Brian. Most oral care products on store shelves are generic chemical formulas. They don't contain the biofilm destroying enzymes or bacterial rebalancing compounds your mouth actually needs. And they certainly don't address the mutated P. gingivalis that have learned to survive antiseptic warfare. This isn't toothpaste. This is a cutting-edge treatment packaged in a chewable tablet format. We include beta-glucan glucanase and dextranase to dissolve concrete-like biofilm fortresses where bacteria hide. Glucose oxidase that transforms natural mouth sugars into singlet oxygen. Molecular poison to anaerobic bacteria. Xylitol that bacteria gorge on thinking it's sugar, but it kills them from the inside out. And lactoferrin, the same compound in breast milk that triggers rapid gum tissue regeneration. Think of it this way. Using regular mouthwash is like spraying water on a concrete bunker. This chewable protocol is like deploying molecular weapons that dissolve the fortress walls and eliminate the hidden enemy. That's why people who have tried everything finally see their gums stop bleeding and their chronic bad breath disappear when they try this. Carol from Denver asks, I've had bleeding gums, bad breath, and loose teeth for years, but I'm really worried about what you said about Alzheimer's. Is that connection real? Great question, Carol. And I understand the concern. The oral-brain connection is absolutely real, and it's one of the most important things your doctor should be telling you, but isn't. That study from Tufts University I mentioned, they examined post-mortem brain tissue from Alzheimer's patients and found the same P. gingivalis bacteria from dental plaque in 97% of cases. Not 50%, 97%. Here's what's terrifying. Those bacteria didn't start in their brain. They started in bleeding gums, just like yours, and traveled through the bloodstream. Once inside the brain, they release toxic enzymes called gingipains that literally melt neurons like acid on metal. The protocol includes lactoperoxidase, the same enzyme found in those Swiss mountain villages where Alzheimer's is practically unheard of. It hunts down oral bacteria that have escaped into your bloodstream and neutralizes them before they can embed in your brain tissue. So yes, stopping your gums from bleeding isn't just about oral health. Every time you see pink in the sink, that's 140 billion bacteria entering your bloodstream with direct access to your heart, joints, and brain. When your mouth's bacterial ecosystem gets restored, your whole body stops fighting that 24/7 invasion. Linda from Boston asks, are there any side effects I should worry about? I've tried whitening products that made my teeth sensitive and painful. Excellent question, Linda, and I totally get the concern. This protocol is chemical-free, fluoride-free, and gentle. No harsh abrasives, no bleaching agents, no alcohol-based antiseptics. Every ingredient is either NASA tested or clinically proven safe and tested twice for purity and potency. So what's the most common side effect? Rapid healing. Seriously, some people's gums stop bleeding within 48 hours. Teeth that felt loose start feeling solid again. Bad breath disappears without covering up with artificial flavors. Morning mouth vanishes, tooth sensitivity fades, people start smiling in photos again. For some, that shift can feel so fast, it's almost surprising. But when your mouth's natural defenses come back online, your body stops fighting a 24/7 bacterial invasion and starts working again. So yes, it's safe. And for most people, it feels like the first time their mouth has truly cooperated in years. And if you're worried about being let down again, here's our promise. If you follow the protocol for 7 days and there isn't a significant improvement, you get a full refund. No returns, no questions, just results or your money back. Because when a formula is designed to eliminate the actual bacteria species that's destroying your mouth, rather than just masking symptoms, it tends to work. So if you've watched this far, don't wait, because right now, while we still have bottles from this month's limited production run, you have a window. The same way thousands of others have, once they gave their gums and teeth what they were quietly begging for all along. You'll start by answering a few simple questions below. That allows us to build the precision-matched version of the nighttime remineralization chew protocol, tailored to your specific bacterial profile and healing needs. And if you're serious, I recommend the full 6-month kit. That's what I recommend in my practice. And that's what gives your mouth the time it needs to rebuild its ecosystem and lock in results that last. You'll get over $1,400 in total savings, priority shipping, and every bonus protocol we normally reserve for private patients. Plus, you're fully protected by my guarantee. If you follow the protocol for 7 days and there isn't a significant improvement, you get a full refund. No hoops, no hassle, and if at any point in the next 90 days you're not thrilled with your results, you're covered there too. No questions asked, and you don't even need to send the bottles back. So really, the only thing at risk is staying stuck. Click below and claim your kit before this batch is gone, because this isn't just about your teeth, it's about getting your life back, and you deserve that chance.